Give him a mustache.
Okay, now today we're going to move on to the next part, which is transforming equations using multiplication and division, which is the sheet that I handed out. So we're going to be doing that in class, so don't do that while I'm talking. But we'll do that. And
Lost my pencil.
the sheet, yes, this isn't homework. We're doing it in class. Most of the time, the sheets will always be class. The only time we should take those home and do them for homework, if I wasn't clear, is if we didn't get to them through the whole period because we had too many questions, and then I just hand them out as you leave in the door. So if I give them to you with a few minutes to go, you just do how many other problems you can get and then throw them in the box. Because I know there's some of you that I might not have been clear, and you took them home, finished them all, and brought them back as homework.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my fault, not yours. I guess I wasn't clear. Because at least when one person does it, I figure they didn't get it. But if like 2 or 3 different people, that means it was my fault because that means I didn't do it clear because more than one person thought that. So yeah, anytime I give it to you in class, you just do what you can do and then turn it in. And the reason I do that is so I can see how much, what you guys understand, what you don't, what I need to re-go over and what I don't. Okay? So we'll do those in class. But multiplication and division is going to be very similar to what we did before. The only difference will be that we'll be multiplying and dividing instead of just adding and subtracting. So 2 new properties, but all 4 of these properties from yesterday and today are very similar. And I don't know if I've slowed down or if you guys have all just gotten used to me talking fast, and so now you're used to it. But I know I talk very fast.
I think you should be an oxygen. Mr. Sager, I
What?
think you should be an auctioneer, not a math teacher.
A what?
Auctioneer, like
An auctioneer?
Oh,
People
yeah.
that
I know those.
Okay. All right. So the 2 properties from yesterday and the 2 properties from today are all really the same thing, only they have 4 different titles because there's 4 different operations. But it says the same thing. If A, B, and C are any real numbers, and A and B are equal. So if you have an equation where 2 things are equal, then you can multiply anything by both sides, and it'll still be equal. So you can do that. And then the division property says the same thing. As long as A and B are the same, as long as you have 2 things that are equal in an equation, you can divide both sides by a number, and they'll still stay the same. The only difference with division that you have to remember is the non-zero part. That C can't be 0 because we know you can never divide by 0. And so I have to drill that into you. So from now on, for the rest of your life, you'll never divide by 0. If you divide something by 0, you'll get a wrong answer. Division by 0 is always undefined. But as long as you divide by any other number that's not 0, it'll stay equal.
Wait, isn't it if you divide by 0, you get 0?
No. You can have 0 on the top in the numerator and divide anything by it and it'll give you 0. But if a 0 on the bottom will not do that.
Oh.
It'll mess everything up. It's undefined. Okay? So okay. Oh, so I didn't. All right. So we're gonna do the properties. I didn't put problems on the board, so we're gonna do this together. So grab your sheet. And we're gonna do We'll do some examples. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll leave that up for a second. Although actually, I copied this word for word out of your book. So if you have your textbook, you can copy that word for word right out of your textbook. If it's on page 102. The multiplication property, equality, and division property. It's all right in your book. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a couple of these from each section, and then I'll let you have the rest of the time to try to work on them your own, and I'll come around and see who's struggling. So I'm on page 39 of your sheet, which is the front page, so in case you have the same thing. And I'm going to go down to number 1, which says 7m equals 140. Okay. Shay, what's the operation closest to my variable? Multiplication. Notice I'm multiplying 7 and m. You're not going to see that dot anymore, but you're still multiplying. So I just do that. Okay? And to get rid of multiplication, I do the opposite. What's the opposite of multiplication?
Division.
So what am I going to divide both sides by?
7.
And if I divide those by 7, I get m equals, what is 140 divided by 7?
20.
20.
Good. So m is 20. So that's all we're doing for those. Let's see if there's any more. Yeah, let's do number 6 together because number 6, we have a negative. So let's see. Number 6, 330 equals negative 15u. Okay. Okay. So what am I going to do first, Gianna?
You divide 330 by 7 minus 15.
And what do I do to this side?
Divided by negative 15.
And what am I left with? You can take a second and do it on paper if you can't do it in your head, it's fine. 330 divided by 15, and then it's going to be, because you're dividing numbers with different signs, we know it's going to be a negative number, whatever it comes out to. And over here we know that's just going to cancel out to u, so that's not much. Does everybody else have an answer if I call? Don't say it, just let her work on it, but everybody else has an answer if I call on you? You all know? If not, you're working it on paper. 330 divided by 15. I'm sorry? 22. Good. Oh, yeah. Guys. All right, 22. Notice, if I put a root on my onion, I have 330 equals negative 15 times 22, because I'm putting my 22 in for you. That's how I check. And then if I take negative 15 and multiply by 22, what else I get? 10, 3, 1, 4. Did I add a... Sorry, 10, 30. Oh, this is 30. I had an extra one over there. So it's 330, which equals 330. So you know it's right. So again, if you do that part, yeah. Yes. So if you do that part, you can always check your work. All right, let's go to the back page. We'll go to page 40 on the back side, and we'll go to number 10. Okay. 2/3 m equals 6. Okay, Alex, what's the operation closest to my variable? What's the operation? There's 4 operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I'm sorry? Multiplication. So in order to get rid of multiplication, I have to divide. What am I going to divide both of those by? 2. Guys. What number am I going to divide both those by? Yeah. Okay. And when I divide, what am I really doing? What's my definition of division? When I divide, what do I do? If I divide, I turn it into what kind of a problem? If I divide, what is division? How do I define it? Division is what? Anyone? Multiplication by the reciprocal. When you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. So if I have, I'm sorry, I wrote too big here, right? If I have 2/3 m, and I'm dividing by 2/3, I'm multiplying that by the reciprocal, which is 3/2. Multiply by the reciprocal of 3/2. Okay? And then over here I have 6 times 3/2. So notice I multiplied by the reciprocal. Okay? Well, what's this, Alex? 2/3 m times 3/2 m. What is all that on this side? What's that going to equal? I'm sorry? Well, 2/3 times 3/2 would give you 1, but what's left? M. And then what is 6 times 3/2?
No.
It's all right. Take your time.
9.
9. Notice 6 times 3 is 18, divided by 2 is 9. Or 6 divided by 2 is 3, times 3 is 9, either way. So we know m is 9. So what if we don't want to, and that's certainly, you can do that, because the division or multiplication property of equality says I could do that. And this is what Felix wanted to do. He said multiplication, which is fine, and you could do it that way. Let's do it a different way, see if it's easier. 2/3 m equals 6. 2/3 m equals 6. Okay, well, what if I want to simplify first? So what you did is perfectly fine, and I showed you how you can do that. You can divide by multiplying by the reciprocal, and you got the right answer. But what if I want to simplify this and say, what if I want to call this 2m over 3? Instead of that, equals 6. Now, what's my operation here that I'm doing here? Now that I got it as a fraction, what am I doing? I'm no longer multiplying, I'm doing what? What's my operation closest to my variable here? Multiplication. And then notice something here. This is important. Notice that here we have two operations. So up until now, all you've seen is one operation. So that's why I told you these are little simple onions. And I told you as these problems get bigger and bigger, you'll have bigger onions to deal with to peel back. So once you multiply, Weston, what's my next operation that I'm going to do on this to my variable? Divide. So see, now I got a two-layer onion here. Okay. So, and you guys can decide for yourself what's easier. You could do exactly the way that Alex said before. You can divide by the reciprocal, all that stuff. What do I do to get... Now, when I'm peeling my onions, that's why I draw them. Remember, you got to peel the outside first. So you don't get to the middle until you go through the outside. So, Weston, how will I get rid of my division? What's the opposite of that? And multiply by what number? What number am I going to multiply by to get rid of my division? See here, I'm dividing by 3. Yeah. What am I going to multiply by to get rid of that?
6. 3.
I'm going to do the same number. So to get rid of division by 3, I just multiply by 3. And that will get rid of that division by 3 and just leave me 2m equals 18. Because 3 times 6 is 18. Now, if you want, you can do this. Color in your onion, and you know you peeled that back. Now all you have left, Weston, is multiplication. How will you get rid of that? It's always the opposite. Just whatever the opposite of multiplication is.
Division.
And what will I divide both sides by in order to get that m by itself?
2.
What is 18 divided by 2?
9.
Whichever way was easier. I prefer, in my mind, the way my mind works, it's easier for me to multiply everything by 3 and then divide by 2 than it is to multiply by the reciprocal and all that. But whatever works in your mind, either way you'll get the right answer. Okay? The only difference is I did it in 2 steps, and because I'd rather do that than work with all the fractions over fractions. But it's up to you, whatever way you works best. Okay? So that's how that works. What's that? Can you do the next one? Yeah. Let's find one here that's... a good one to do. Let's see. Okay, negative 20. I'm going to do number 23. Negative 28. Negative 28 equals c over 7. Okay. What's the operation closest to my variable, Desiree? Division. How will I get rid of my division?
Multiply it.
By what?
28. Both 7 times 28.
7, right? And what will that leave me?
It will leave you C.
Yeah, and then
And
28 times 7. Well, 20 times 7 is 140. And then 8 times 7 is 56. So 140 and 56 would be 196. And notice that you're multiplying a negative and a positive number, so when you multiply, it'll be negative. So C is negative 196. And if you take negative 196 and you divide by 7, you will get negative 28. That's how you check that. Okay, I'll put up the homework. You can use the rest of the period to finish the sheet, work on it, let me know. If you have any issues, you can... Yes, homework. These are last night's word problems, so that you only have to do those tonight if you didn't already do them, or if you didn't do all of them. So this is tonight's stuff on top of that. What?
You only had to do 2 through 8.
2 through 8, even. Yeah, there's 4
The
problems.
homework for tonight is just page 98, columns 2 through 8.
At the end of class, you can hand them in, yes. So work on those, but skip around. Don't work on, because we only have like about 5 minutes. So don't do all the multiplication ones and that. So do one from like each section, like I did, so that you know how to do those. And then raise your hand if you have questions, and I'll come around and help you.
The homework is page 98, columns 2 through 8 even.
That was last night's homework. But I told you didn't have to do it because I didn't explain the word problem. So if you didn't do it last night, do those tonight. Then this is tonight's homework. All of it has to be done. Some of you already did this, is what I'm saying. Some people went ahead even though they didn't have to last night. But these are only 4 problems, guys. This isn't. They're only the evens, so that's not. It's really not that bad. And these are all evens too. So you got 16 and 4 is 20, you have 24 problems total.
Oh, that's
Okay.
not bad.
It's not. It looks worse when it looks on paper. And I know that, like I said, I wasn't clear, so I know some of you were taking like these sheets home and then working, getting every single one done. So I understand that. And then some of you also had quiz corrections. Told you, do you not get enough sleep at night? What's up, Nathan?
So if you don't get this done,
What's that?
if you don't get this done,
No. Hand the sheets in at the end of class. It's just the class time is just to try to get through those, so if you need help, you can ask me before we get there. So this was section 3.2. You will